Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be this fun honeycomb nail set. So I'm starting off with a bunch of different yellows. I decided to go for more of like a honey mustard kind of color. I wanted the colors to be a little bit more golden, but if you did this with like a bright yellow, I think that'd be really cute too. So I'm starting off with this pale yellow from Apres, and it's just going to be the background for a couple of the nails here. And I had some trouble with this gel polish curing wrinkly. Maybe I just applied it too thickly. That can happen oftentimes with yellow. Yellow is a trickier gel polish and oftentimes has a harder time curing, similar to like whites and blacks. It's a very strong pigment, even if it's a lighter color. So just like a little tip, when you're working with yellows, make sure you apply them in a thinner layer than you can get away with some other gel polishes. Yeah, just like a quick tip here while I'm working here. And I'm just doing this ombre here between the light yellow and this mustardy yellow over here, and I'm going to be doing a second coat for everything, and ombres always look better once we have the second coat on, so that's gonna fill in all the gaps over here. And then I'm going to do the middle accent nail in black. And after 2 coats and a matte top coat, I'm going to be using these glitters. So I wasn't sure if I was trusting myself with the like hexagon shapes of a honeycomb. I'm not exactly sure the exact shape of a honeycomb. Is it a hexagon? Is it an octagon? I'm not really sure what the official shape of a honeycomb is, but I was kind of not trusting myself to do that tedious work of doing those fine shapes. And I thought it would actually be kind of fun to do it with this is this a hexagon, or is how many sides does this shape have? I can't even tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got 6. So anyway, I didn't even like really pay attention because I figured whatever the shape of these glitters are is going to be the shape of my honeycomb, regardless of if it's accurate or not. But I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do all the tedious work myself and get all the shapes the way I liked it, so I thought I would use some glitter to mimic that shape. And I also thought it came out really cool, and that it just added a bit of oomph to the nail. But of course, if you wanted to hand draw that, that would be really cool as well. So I'm just using this glitter here and creating this kind of like sideways shape. I wanted it to definitely have some shapeness to it. I didn't want it to be too perfect. I kind of wanted it to look almost like a slice of honeycomb, and I'm just using a dotting tool here so that I can pick up the individual pieces and just laying them down in some sort of pattern. I didn't really have an exact shape in mind. I was just kind of going with how I felt at the moment. And this glitter just really looked very green on the black background, so I decided to add a bit more detail, and using this thicker powder gel from Vettsy that we used before, I'm going to actually outline the honeycomb shape over here. So I did a matte top coat first so that I would have a smooth surface to paint on top of, and I'm going to outline this whole shape, and then in between the whatever shape those are. Let me know in the comments. So although initially I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that tedious work with the hand painting, now that I had the shapes down and the outline, and I didn't really love that it was turning a little bit greenish. I thought it kind of looked cool, but it also was not the effect I was necessarily going for. So I thought outlining it in this mustardy yellow, kind of giving the effect of like honey dripping between the honeycombs, I thought that'd be really cool. So this was a bit of tedious work, so I do end up going around the whole outline and then in between the different bits of glitter as well, but I thought that would be just a little bit too tedious to wash the whole thing, because I mean it took me a long time to do it, and I kind of at some point just wanted to get my face right up in there, and I didn't want to have to worry about keeping in frame of the camera, because just like trying to figure out where the glitter started and ended. For this one it was easier, but with the yellow ones it was actually harder because the yellow on top of yellow was more difficult to see. So I'm just showing the outline over here, and I don't mind that it's getting like thicker in some places and thinner in the others. I feel like it kind of adds to the effect of like thick honey dripping between the honeycombs. So I'll be honest, I wasn't really too thrilled that this glitter really took on a greenish hue. There you can see it with the details in the center. I got this set of glitters off of Amazon with like the ones that you see in like these like tall thin tubes, and I noticed when I use them, most of the time they don't actually have as strong of a pigment as they look. Most of the time they just have a strong pigment because they're all sitting next to each other, and once I start placing them on different colored backgrounds, they are mostly clear with just like a hint of color, and then the colors kind of shift depending on what background they're on, as we saw with the black one. So, I mean, the glitters are fine. They were cheap. It was like a set of a bunch of different like glitters for, I don't know, a couple of bucks, but like, I don't know, not necessarily loving the fact that they don't really have as strong of a base. So anyway, when you place them down on top of a background that matches their colors, they just look a little bit better. But you can see even here, they looked yellow in the container, and yet when I put them on a yellow background, they start taking on this pinkishy orange hue, which I don't necessarily super mind. I just wish the colors were a little bit more true to what they look like. So not necessarily something I would recommend if you want your glitters to be the color that they look. So as I am just going to be doing a similar placement over here on this second nail, I just wanted to mention again that I am going to be doing a giveaway when I reach 1,000 subscribers. We are super close, and it's mind-boggling. I cannot believe it. I started this as a hobby. This is still a hobby. I don't make any money off of YouTube. It's super fun for me. I love using this as a creative outlet and trying and experimenting with things that would sometimes scare me, because sometimes when it comes to being creative, if I feel like I'm not going to be good enough, I don't like trying. It's just this kind of like perfectionist mentality that like if I don't get it perfect, I don't want to do it. But it's something that I'm trying to get over, and doing YouTube has actually really helped that, because sometimes my designs don't come out exactly as I planned, or things go a little bit awry, but just playing with colors and designs and patterns and stuff has just been a great creative outlet. So I wanted to share some of that joy with all of you, and if you would like a chance to win the giveaway, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, and I apologize that I'm out of frame on this camera. I'm not really sure what I did here. Maybe I'm just setting up for the next set. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But if you would like a chance to win the giveaway that we'll be having when I reach 1,000 subscribers, then please consider subscribing and make sure that you have your subscriptions visible. So when it comes to YouTube, the default setting on the channel, on like your YouTube settings, is when you subscribe to a channel, they can't see. So if you wanted to be able to be like a visible viewer, for me to be able to see that you're subscribed, you have to go into your settings and click the little toggle button that says like make your subscriptions visible. Because I have like, you know, now we're close to 970 something subscribers at this point, but I can't see all of the people who are subscribed, especially if you have your subscription not visible. So I only see like a certain amount, like a few hundred of you who are subscribed, which is great. And hello, nice to see all of you. But if you would like a chance to win the giveaway that I'll be doing in a little bit, hopefully, make sure that your subscription is visible so that I can actually see that you are subscribed. But just do note that this will also make your subscriptions visible to any other channel that you are subscribed to. So if that's not something that you're comfortable with, then that's totally fine. But just keep that in mind, that if you would like to be able to win the giveaway, make sure that I can see your profile when you subscribed. So after doing that outlining with the black gel to kind of emphasize the glitters, it was really hard to do with the yellow glitter on top of the yellow background. I'm so sorry that I'm out of camera. I don't know why I was so out of frame, but I'm gonna fix that in a second. I'm using this gold glitter over here to create like honey drips from the tip of the nail and going downwards. Yeah, here you can see it. I'm so sorry that I'm out of camera. I must have like been just trying to see what I was doing and not even realizing where I was. But this is what I was doing over here, and honestly, you didn't really miss much because this gel was not working the way I expected it to. It's a potted gel, so I did expect it to be a bit thicker, but it was not behaving the way I was expecting. It was thicker than I wanted it to be. I didn't realize, and it was much harder to get those drippy shapes. But at the same time, I think it really did kind of like mimic the look of honey. Honey is not as thick as this, but it was kind of giving the effect that I was hoping for. So it took a bit of finessing and playing around with the gel and kind of smoothing it out as much as I could. It was a very thick solid gel. It really did not want to be moved around too much, especially in like these small like detailed areas. So it didn't come out as perfectly as expected it, but it did kind of really give that effect the way I expected, the way I wanted it to. So in the end, it worked out really well, and just creating these drips of honey coming down from the honeycomb. And like I was saying, outlining the yellow glitter on the yellow background was so difficult. I couldn't see what I was doing, and that's also why I ended up doing it off camera and just showing you the end result, because I needed to get my face really up there. Maybe that's why I was out of frame for the honey part. Like I was just like in that mind space that like I was just out of camera and I just didn't realize that I was not back in frame. But yeah, that was a tedious outlining job, so definitely not something that was necessary to show on camera. It was long and tiring. But now for this ombre set for the two ombre nails over here, I'm going to add a couple of cute little bees. So I'm starting with the mustardy shade again. I like the idea of like a goldeny tone for the bees as well. I just wanted everything to kind of match. I thought adding in a different color would just be a little bit too dramatic. And then over here, I started by adding 3 lines, 3 little stripies to this bee over here, but I decided it was looking a little bit too clustered, a little bit too crowded, so I ended up taking that off and just doing 2 like I'm doing for the one over here. So when you see it at the end, you'll see he only has 2 stripes. And then I wanted to add a bit more detail to the whole set, so I am using this white gel over here and just creating some cute little wings, and then also going to create some flowers to just kind of give the effect of bees going to get flowers and turning it into delicious honey. Fun fact, I'm actually slightly allergic to bees. I know that's not like super rare. Lots of people are allergic to bees. I'm not so allergic to the point that like I can go into anaphylactic shock. The last time I got stung by a bee was almost 10 years ago now. I think I was like 13 or 14, and I got stung on my forearm, and my whole arm blew up, and it lasted for about a week and a half. It was itchy and red, and every time I touched it, it was painful. So I try to avoid bees. I let them do their thing, and when I see them, I very carefully try to get out of their way. But I mean, I've seen Bee Movie, we know the story. Bees are super important to our environment, and I am so grateful for everything that they do. I love plants, I love flowers, I love fruits and vegetables, and I love that bees help with all of that. But for me, I will very politely and graciously step aside and let them do their thing and not get in their way, because yeah, it was painful when I got stung by a bee, and I still remember it, and it lasted a long time. So I am thankful for their services, and to commemorate them and to honor the bees without getting in their way, I decided to do this fun nail set. And I love the bright summery colors. Yellow is super, super fun, and I thought that the accent with the black would be kind of like a nice commemorance, remembrance, memorial, not memorial, I keep saying those words, and that's not true. That's not the right word, because like that would be like assuming that like they were gone and now we're memorizing them. It's not to commemorate them, it's like to honor them, I guess, to honor the bees and give them a cute little nail set without having to disturb their work. And then after all of this, I end up doing a shiny top coat because I really wanted the glitters to pick up. At first I was thinking I was gonna do matte, but when I saw how matte they were and how they really faded into the background, especially on the yellow nails, I decided to go for a shiny top coat. So that's what we're gonna do over here. And then after that, I decided to again add a bit more detail and kind of really enhance the bees and the flowers a little bit. So I am going to use some rhinestone gel, and I'm going to use that to kind of like create little like a 3D effect over the bees and the flowers. And I'm mentioning that now while I'm doing that because I wanted to say that although the rhinestone gel holds its shape pretty nicely and I was able to get that 3D effect, I noticed that doing it over a shiny top coat maybe wasn't the best idea. Oh yeah, I do it over the honey too, and kind of give it like a really like gorgeous glazed shimmery honey effect. And I noticed that when I did it on top of the shiny top coat, it didn't hold its shape as well as it does on a matte top coat, the Rhinestone Glue. So I ended up having to work a little bit faster than I was expecting to make sure that the Rhinestone Glue didn't just drip all over the place. In the past, I've done it over a matte top coat, and that definitely worked better, but I did want to finish off with a shiny top coat, and I didn't want to do the top coat over the Rhinestone Glue that's giving the 3D effect, because I thought that that would kind of like smooth things out. So what I would suggest for if you're doing a 3D effect with Rhinestone Glue is do it over a matte top coat and then do the shiny top coat over the rest of the nail if that's what you're going for, and just go around your 3D effects with the top coat instead of going over it. And that way you'll still have your shiny top coat and the 3D effect without your Rhinestone Glue like running all over the place, because it was dripping all over, it was sliding off the nails, and even though it does have a nice thick viscosity, it was difficult to work with because it was just getting all over the place. So that's just a tip. And I like that when I added the rhinestone glue over the honey, it really just gave this fun shiny effect that kind of just enhanced it a little bit more. And you can see here I'm using a dotting tool. I felt that with a dotting tool it was easier to control the amount and control where it was going, especially because the shapes that I am doing the 3D effect over were kind of small and a little bit precise because of their shape. I didn't want the gel getting everywhere. But even here, it kind of like got all over the place because it was just slipping and sliding. So it was just a little bit more of, you know, having to work the gel more than I expected. But in the end, it came out super, super cute. And I do like how this set came out. Sitting here all next to each other, I think it came out really, really cute. I love the black accent nail. I think it's super cool, especially with the outline, despite the fact that it went a little bit green. Let me know what you think of this set down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!